What do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
Are you ready for this?
Me, I'm in my zone, focused on my own growth. I be water walking through these streets like sailboat. Me, I be the compass as I lead and guide my people. I'm a father, I'm friend with a couple guns legal. You not that smart, quit the bull. Yes, I'm seeing right through you. I be talking to the spirits, but best believe it's not voodoo. Yeah, I know you think you him, but in my head, I'm like who you? I'm a legend, I'm a beast, I'm the rose that grew through concrete. Let's keep it going. Keep it pushing as I lay back. Curtains drawn like I'm in a Maybach. Me, I'm so unique, I'm like needle in the haystack. Catching money, dodging fame. I sticking over while stacking racks. Go and hammer pop your shit, but don't be mad when I clap back. Let's keep it going. Yeah, let's go.
Me in the jungle, hit a rumble. Caught a couple touchdowns and I had a couple fumbles. Look at me, now I recovered. This is mind over matter. Keep it pushing when I stumble. Long way from home to gather wisdom and stay humble. Eyes wide shut, this me. This is dawn till me vessel crumble. I return.
Mic check 1 2. 1 second. Okay. I'm gonna just go ahead and pull this video up. We've had too many mishaps today when it comes to the live. This is your nighttime. Let's just go ahead and take it easy. Okay. So okay. Let's get back to StreamYard. Okay. I do sincerely apologize to everybody. I can tell you right now, StreamYard does not rock with Smitty's Corner. I don't know what's something against this channel. Let me move this over here. All right. So I'm gonna share this right here. Boom, boom. I don't know. It's like them last 2 fumbles just blew all the gas out of me. I don't know. I'm like so over it. But show must go on. Let's go. All right, so let's go ahead and get to this. Let me turn this up a little bit. Let me see what we got. I guess my headphones are working. Yeah, there you go. I can hear myself. Let's go ahead and let's take time and let's listen to this. Whoever's in the building, thank you for stopping by. I'm fully aware every experience tonight has been totally just sloppy and just struggle stream and unprofessional. Forgive me. Let's keep on going.
I've been diagnosed with a lot of things. ADHD, narcissistic personality disorder, lupus nephritis.
A lot of people would slow down. You don't.
I don't. It's in my DNA. I'm cut that way. I wouldn't know any other way to live.
Producer, actor, rapper.
Comedian and media mogul is hosting The Masked Singer.
Please welcome
Nick Cannon. Met him when I was 5 years old. He really became a pillar within our family and within our community. All of the things that I attempt to live by to this day, I saw firsthand in him.
So let's go ahead and let's see what we got on this interview, okay? Let's go ahead and talk about it. Let's see.
Career wins, personal relationships, health challenges, and fatherhood have all unfolded very publicly and often at the same time. When Nick thought seriously about who believed in him early on, he didn't reach for the obvious answer. He went back to childhood, to a time when discipline and structure and example mattered more than encouragement. That person shaped how Nick understands integrity, responsibility, and what it means to be a man. And that influence still shows up in his life today. And that is where we begin. Well, welcome.
Thank you. It was quite the intro. I know you put it so poignant.
Do you see your life story as a poignant one, a thriller? How do you see it?
That's a great question because it's so ongoing that I probably never step back to analyze it yet because it's constant. And I guess I'm probably getting to that age where I probably should start looking back and, you know, even this moment now is reflecting on like childhood and different people who influence you. I haven't done a lot of that.
One thing that I can definitely say is one of the most important, and I mean the most important thing that I've been doing is I've been taking time to look back and reflect on where I've been, where I come from, the whole nine. Y'all excuse me on that. I'm kind of knocking some stuff over. I've been taking time to really think about that. Reflection has been something that's been huge on my mind as of late, as far as where I am, because you know you'll always come to that point in your life where you will look at where am I right now and what parts of my past was I in control of, not in control of, as to why I am where I am. And I'm talking about in a successful position and or if you're not exactly where you want to be in life. So that is something very prevalent. I believe Nick is in his 40s just like myself, and that is something that is what takes place right around this point. Like when you sit down and have time to yourself, you'll just start thinking about life. Let's keep going.
Because I'm always on the hustle and on the grind. So I think, you know, if I had to define it, it's definitely an action movie.
An action movie.
Yeah.
I can see that. We start these, Nick, the same way, and it is with a photo. And I'd like to begin with this.
Yeah. That exactly. And when I say action movie, I mean it's definitely like a martial arts action movie.
Tell people listening and watching who that is.
This is Master James Wilson, my first instructor in the field of martial arts. He's a grandmaster of Taekwondo, Hapkido, and I mean, this dude is phenomenal. Probably one of the most accomplished men that I ever met. And early on was just such a great influence to my family. Met him when I was 5 years old.
You call him the person who believed in you. Why?
I would say there's many reasons why I feel like Master Wilson is the person who believed in me. And I take it to a space because obviously when you think about a question like, you know, who believes in you, you instantly go to your parents.
Right.
So,
right.
And my dad is so influential in my life. And interestingly enough, Master Wilson was his instructor as well.
What did his belief in you look like?
I had that youth perspective.
Right.
You know, so he was larger than life to me.
Stern.
Yes. More, all of the things that I attempt to live by to this day.
Now let's think about this right here. This is a pivotal point where I was speaking about in the community as far as it doesn't it doesn't always have to necessarily be your biological father or mother, let's say. We came up in a time where we had even outside influences that also gave us an indication and a good idea of what manhood and how men should conduct themselves consist of. And that is never to say any of these men that we looked up to were perfect. None of them. Because no man, no woman, nobody is perfect, right? So let's just go ahead and keep on going. I just wanted to throw that piece in there.
I saw firsthand in him discipline, integrity, perseverance, resilience, strength. You know, probably more than anything is strength.
So you're how old when you meet him?
I met him when I was 5 years old.
Oh,
Yeah.
you were in Taekwondo at 5.
At 5, because you know,
Did you hear what he named? Let's listen to what he named again.
about a question like, you know, who believes you? You instantly go to your parents,
Right.
So,
right.
and my dad is so influential in my life. And interestingly enough, Master Wilson was his instructor as well.
What did his belief in you look like?
I had that youth perspective,
Right.
you know, so he was larger than life to me.
Stern.
Yes, more all of the things that I attempt to live by to the
Now, you know what's crazy? I know what he means by the youth perspective when he says larger than life, as in when all you see is the greatness. You don't see their flaws. You don't see maybe they got this maybe issue or what have you. All you see is the greatness in that person. And then we get older, and of course we put on different glasses, if you want to say, to look at it. We put on different bifocals. Let's keep going.
this day, I saw firsthand in him discipline, integrity, perseverance, resilience, strength. You know,
Discipline, integrity, perseverance, resilience, strength. All of the things that I continuously talk about when I say a man that is purpose driven. Those are all of the qualities and a few extras. Let's go.
probably more than anything is strength.
So you're how old when you meet him?
I met him when I was 5 years old.
Oh,
Yeah.
you were in Taekwondo at 5.
At 5, because you know my dad had a history of it, and you know I was at the time my father's only son, only child, and he wanted me to kind of follow in his footsteps. And you know we grew up in a disenfranchised community, lower income, so having a Taekwondo studio or a karate studio in the neighborhood was rare, you know. So, and having someone who dedicated their time to the community was like a great opportunity. So I remember, you know, after school, putting on, you know, my gi, as we would call it, and jumping in the car and going down the street and walking in that storefront studio for the first time, and just hearing all of this yelling and chopping and seeing bricks being broken. And it was like, it was an action movie, right? Off top.
I was in Taekwondo as a kid, so
Oh, wow.
I have a deep appreciation for the discipline
Yes.
that comes from it.
Absolutely.
When you walked in the door, did you have examples in your life at that time of men like Master Wilson?
Master Wilson was one of a kind. I believe there's a lot of things that my father had adopted from what he got from him. So I had a little bit of what, you know, everything from the physicality to push-ups to the sternness, but not cut from the same cloth that Master Wilson had. Like I had never met anybody with that much sternness and stoic energy.
He was also a very smart man and very accomplished. When
Yes.
I did some research on him, he was an assistant United States attorney.
Yes.
I think you said you believe he was a judge at one point,
Right.
had done some judge work.
Yeah. A minister as well as a
Wow.
grandmaster in martial arts.
How did he model discipline and integrity? How did it show up?
Inside the studio, obviously, there's no jokes, no games, no smiling, and for a kid, that can be really intimidating, especially a kid like myself.
I was about to say, you seem like a kid who smiled all the time.
All the time,
Yeah.
always with
Yeah.
the jokes. So, but, stepping in the door, instantly bowing, speaking when spoken to.
Yep.
Other than that, you're silent,
Yep.
hands behind your back, that energy. Again, like I said, I had a little bit of it already from my dad. So I wasn't a total fish out of water, but something about just understanding that you have to be the man that you are at all times. And that was a training ground for that. And that idea of, just being the best version of yourself and understanding how to get there daily.
How many influences like that were there in the neighborhood?
There were not many influences like that in the neighborhood. There were a lot of influences in the neighborhood, but also coming from, a community where you don't necessarily see prominent figures. You definitely don't see doctors and judges and lawyers. But then, grandmasters is a whole nother level.
A question just came to my mind. Do you think you have become the man Grandmaster Wilson wanted you to see? Wanted the child you to see?
I would hope so. I believe so. Obviously, later in his life, we got an opportunity to spend some time, and
because I think about the little you. There were no Nick Cannons,
right,
of that type walking around the neighborhood.
You're right.
And essentially, you would be that guy today.
I would hope so.
Right? Yeah.
And
we're talking about San Diego.
Yes.
This is 19.
I mean, it was 85, 86.
Do you remember the first conversation, or what is the first conversation you remember having directly with him? Describe it in detail.
I would probably say, if I can remember.
Yeah.
Because I remember it was about getting into the class.
Right.
And
right.
I was very scared. I wasn't really excited about it because if I'm gonna be completely honest, one, being, just scared, but then two, this was a whole new world that I almost had to do or felt obligated, not just extracurricular activity, but I knew this is a new way of life that as a kid that I have to start living, that I necessarily wasn't ready for. I was a hyperactive little kid. I was precocious. So discipline was the last thing I wanted to do.
Did you feel drawn to the discipline?
No.
You didn't.
Yeah.
So you pushed back against it.
So in that first conversation, I remember being like, man, this dude is mean. Like this dude is no jokes. And I'm used to, especially at that age, like being silly and joking, and knowing that in this first conversation, it's probably one of the first serious conversations that I had ever really had with anyone outside of, my parents. So to have another adult, intimidating figure, have a conversation about, joining this class and what to expect and how I have to carry myself. It was intense.
Do you remember him fussing at you?
He was a loud man.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't think he was necessarily fussing at me.
Yep.
And he didn't talk at you.
Right. You were part of a class.
Right. So, and every time you would get called out, but it was never, but on those one-on-one conversations, he wasn't loud.
Did you ever want to quit?
Absolutely. I would say I wanted to quit more than not.
Why'd you stay in it?
It was, I knew the benefit. And that
even at that young an age?
Well, obviously, I would probably say at that younger age, but my dad and everything, they probably made me go. Like, for being honest.
How long did you stay in Taekwondo?
It's a life life journey. I'm still in martial arts to this
So
day.
10, 12, 14, you were
Yeah,
still
well, so
going
probably
and doing
so
it?
with Master Wilson, it was probably to about age, because then my father actually moved from San Diego to North Carolina, where he practiced with my younger brothers as well. So I moved out there when I was 12.
I
So
see.
it was
So 5 to 8.
yeah, or like 5 to 12.
5 to 12.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me about some of those as you got older, meaningful interactions you had with him that were formative.
Well, interestingly enough, he was introduced to me as, the Master Wilson, the karate instructor, but he really became a pillar within our family and within our community. So, when people would have issues or there would be problems, or even if there's something going on with the law, you would go talk to Master Wilson about it and get his opinion, because he was an attorney, because he was a judge, because he was. So he would come preach at the church, so you would see him in various spaces, and he became much more than just, Master Wilson, the Hapkido Grandmaster.
Anything stand out in your mind that he told you that you'll never forget?
I would say the idea of integrity. And
can you think?
I didn't, because at that age, because I remember there would be all of the words on the wall.
Yeah.
Perseverance, integrity, strength, courage, but I didn't know what integrity meant. And then it just was like to do the right thing even when no one's watching. And that just has always sat with me. I pass that on to my kids to this day. And those are one of the first words that when I'm talking about, character, that I instill in my own kids.
So I want to dig even deeper, because it always fascinates me when people pick their person, right? Because I wonder how him being a good example for you amounted to you feeling like he believed in you.
Yeah.
Let's go even deeper. Like, how did that feel like a belief in young Nick Cannon? I understand you didn't realize it then, but looking back, how did it amount to a belief in you?
I think even as a kid, I was impressed and knew the value of someone of his stature and his accomplishments to be in our community. He was like a superhero to me. So, like, it wasn't normal. I knew he wasn't a normal guy. I knew
people who break bricks with their head are not normal.
Yeah, just like he was just so stoic. He was so strong.
Yeah.
And then to know all the accomplishments, he was like, there was like folklore in the community, like, that man, he does it all. And so to have an interaction with him and know that he was willing to talk to me and to teach me, was that one of those first examples, like, wow, this person really does believe in me. He was an instructor, but then at the same time, you always value when someone can give back, and too much is given, much is required. Those ideas, that to me made me feel special, because I was like, wow, I get an up close and personal lesson daily from someone of, great stature.
I think this is a good point to make, that as a child, you don't have the awareness that this is an individual who believes in me and this is notable in my life.
Right.
But as an adult reflecting back on it, I think the meaningful perspective to come from this is, what kind of people you want to put in your kids' lives,
right,
or your grandkids' lives.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
I mean, I think that's a big takeaway from this.
Yeah, totally. I mean, and even with my relationship with Master Wilson, watching how my dad did the exact same thing.
Yeah.
He saw the value when he was working with him, and then allowed him to, and he passed away, but I so wish I could have had the opportunity to allow my kids to meet him.
I would assume that some of that discipline from the studio made its way home.
Absolutely.
In what ways?
First of all, the walk home sometimes would be a dangerous one. I would never encourage letting your kids walk home in the hood in a karate uniform. You're just a target. Like, they want to test you. But I say that in jest, but in that sense, there's a sense of pride. There's a sense of, I just accomplished something. And to be able because there's a whole physical training aspect that makes you feel good about yourself afterwards. So being able to do 20 push-ups on my knuckles, as a kid, or being able to obviously stretch and be limber and, pick up on counting in other languages. And, all of these things were stuff that happened in the class, but then became a part of me. And then, rightly so, the discipline of just being a person of integrity, a person of perseverance, a person of strength and courage. All of those things started to live with me daily.
Were you more afraid of Master Wilson or your dad?
Ooh, definitely Master Wilson. My dad, I could ease up for, that's my dad. Master Wilson wasn't necessarily hugging you and all. Like, my dad's an affectionate guy. Master Wilson was a lot more stoic than my dad.
You said you and your dad grew up together.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
My dad had me when, my parents, but they had me when they were teenagers. I was at my dad's high school graduation.
Wow.
How
old was he when he graduated high school?
I'd be like 17, 18, yeah, somewhere around it, whatever the age is.
Wow.
But yeah, that was, we grew up together in that sense where even at a time, his parents looked after me when he went off to college in North Carolina. So, there's definitely the ideas of, we learned a lot together. And I watched my dad go through so much, as even starting his own family and, having 4 more boys. And, even as a young man, I think like, my dad had, 5 boys or, before he was 30, I believe. So it's like, wow. Yeah. So,
does growing up together in that sense give you a little bit more grace when you reflect back on mistakes that may have been made? Or
100%. There probably was a time when I was a teenager. I had this idea. I want to do everything myself. I got this. I'm gonna become the man that I need to become without anyone. And that's just the mindset I had. So parents or anybody, I almost thought there was this narrative that, I did it on my own. But as you get older, you're like, nah, you didn't do it on your own.
Right.
Like, there are people there in your corner. There are people there supporting. There's people there that instilled ideas. And my dad was definitely one of those people, because even when he wasn't there physically, when we didn't live in the same city, the ideas and these concepts and, the things that have been instilled in me, like from Master Wilson, like were always present. But there was, like I said, during that time, especially when my career had just started, I was like, I had left the house when I was like 16. Like I was the youngest to do this, the youngest to do that, living on my own. Like I really embraced that idea. And then, probably a few years after that, my father and I got even closer, and he came and moved out back to California with me. And there was a different bonding time to where all of those things that I probably could have been upset or held a grudge about, I was like, man, you were a kid. You were my age with children.
Why did y'all become closer?
I think it was just proximity and time, and it was an opportunity for, I think the first house that I ever bought, I think I was about 18 or 19, and it was just him and I in the house, and we had never really had that experience because we always had a house that was full of people. So we got an opportunity to really just bond as adults too for the first, I was 18 or 19. I wasn't a full adult yet.
I remember actually being in the home with my father for a while. I actually remember those days. And it's crazy because it's the same, for a long time. It's always been a big family around. But I'm just saying that I do know what it's like to just be around me and Pops for a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, for example, my mother, when she had to get hip surgery, I was younger. And she was gone for a while, and when she was gone, it was just me and pops. You know what I'm saying, and like my baby sister and stuff. But she stay in her room so much, you don't even notice she's there. So I know what it's like. My point is to say exactly what he's talking about. Just had to give it a quick pause because I got to make sure I say something throughout this. So let's just keep on going.
But one thing about my dad, he always treated me like a man. He never treated me like a child. Like, so we would always have these deep conversations, and especially around that time, where we were very honest and real with one another. So that gave us, like I said, in proximity, it was just him and I.
How old were you when your career started?
It depends what you believe saying my career started. I was always that kid that just thought he was an entertainer.
What was the first job you got paid for?
Ooh, it's a good question. Started doing stand-up comedy at 11. When you say pay.
Were at 11, were you funny or just obnoxious?
Both. I was both. And it's interesting going back to my dad again. My dad would, he had a cable access show where he was doing his ministry.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like a makeshift televangelist vibe. And but I was part of the crew. So I had to run the cameras and help build the set and all that stuff. And, as a reward, I got my own time to film stuff. And my dad allowed me to make like little comedy videos or rap videos on set. So that kind of, and he knew, because I really wanted to be a rapper. And he was like, every young kid wants to be a rapper. You're really funny. And so when he would go out on different speaking engagements or anything, he would allow me to like kind of open up for him. And in that vibe, like I would just do my thing.
Were you chasing at that age, teenage age, fame, money?
Definitely not money.
Okay.
Fame, I think the idea of
what did fame mean to you?
Attention. People knowing me, like even growing up, I remember I just wanted everybody in our neighborhood to know my name. Like that.
Where do you think that desire came from?
I don't know, because I remember as a kid, like I always introduced myself by my full name. Like, I'm Nick Cannon. I don't know if that's something like where I got it from. Like, yeah, I'm Nick Cannon. And I knew that as like that's how people would know me, for my full name. So I felt like,
yeah, but at the same time, growing up, back when we were growing up, that was something that was common. We had our nicknames, but a lot of us would be like, oh yeah, David Bailey, or remember Tommy McFlaren. Like that was common. That's not something that was uncommon back when we were growing up. Yeah, now we actually used to have governments that we would be known by in our neighborhood. When we were coming up, everybody knew everybody. We knew each other's government, but we also knew each other's nickname at the same time, right? So even though I know what your nickname, your street name is, I know what your whole full name is, Mr. Zachary Thomas or whatever it may be, right?
I was somebody. I felt like, and I just had to let everyone else know. I had this whimsical thought process that like every mirror and window in the house was a camera. So I was always like playing, like I was making a TV show into the mirrors and talking to the TV show, looking out like on some Truman Show type of vibes.
Wow.
I just felt like people were watching me.
Like you were always on.
Always on. Always had to have the witty comeback or something funny, trying to make people laugh. Attention-seeking behavior.
A lot of times attention-seeking behavior is done to mask something. Were you trying to mask something?
Trying to mask something. At that age, I don't believe so. I definitely grew up in a very unorthodox household, or had an unorthodox upbringing. It wasn't but I had so much love. Like my mother, amazing, just loved me, and I was her world. And then my dad was, that figure to me that's your hero. And then his parents were also like all of our parents. So I had, his father, who was super influential in my life, and another hero of mine. And then my grandmother, who still to this day is the matriarch, and really just
What's her name?
Marie Cannon.
Miss Marie Cannon.
Yeah.
Still with us?
Yes.
Amen. I need to take a moment just to thank Canva for backing this podcast.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go to another video. I'm just kind of up here, just kind of playing some stuff. So, you can catch the replay and take a look at it. So I'm about to pull this up right here. All right, just give me 1 second. Let me go ahead and do this right here. So I apologize for the delay. All right, so let me go ahead and refresh this right here. Let me refresh it. There we go. All right. So let's listen to this right here, okay? I'm gonna turn that off right there. Let's go ahead and let's listen to this video. Much respect to you. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you all. All right, y'all, let's go ahead and get it. Let's listen to this right here.
Because I've reached the part in this whole class consciousness part where I'm just filled with the most impotent rage, and I'm talking that white hot, I need to sink my teeth into something and scream kind of rage. Because what do you mean that it never had to be this hard for us? What do you mean in other countries they don't have to spend 20% of their paycheck on groceries? What do you mean in other countries everyone can own homes because they're not paying $2,000 a month in rent, or that their mortgages aren't their entire paycheck? What do you mean?
So let me help you out. They don't have to pay for none of those things. Yeah, you can grow your own food, no property tax in the government, or nothing is going to come take your avocados or whatever you're growing on your land, but you're not protected. Yeah, you have all of that in those other countries, but it also comes with its own price. So you would have your hands up to your head looking just like that when you wake up one day and you see that your whole crops and everything has been pillaged. And they don't have the type of system here that we have to where you can make the claims. You just lost. You just lost out. So you literally either shoot and fight for your farms or die, and die for it, or you just lose everything and you stand outside looking exactly how you do on this steel frame. All right. So there is a trade-off when you talking about where you talking about what you talking about.
That people in China work one job and they don't even work 40 hours and they can easily afford their life. And then I'm over here working 60 hours a week, just me as a single parent, to barely make ends meet, and I'm penny pinching every single second, and there's so much of life that my kid misses out on and that I miss out on because of money and work and no social support net. And you mean to tell me that it didn't have to be like this?
It's called being an adult. And just to be quite honest with you, beloved, this is the part of life when you start to recognize that no one's here to save you, because nature works the same way. You either make it or you don't. I've had times in my life where I was really biting my nails and wondering, am I going to make it? I remember having that type of anxiety. Now, in the same breath, what I had to do was I had to go ahead and put all of those feelings aside, and I had to prioritize my thoughts. And I had to prioritize my thoughts on what it is I need to do to make sure that I can overcome what it is that's going on. All right. Let's keep on rocking out. Respect to the family.
They keep us in these chains on purpose, and it never had to be like this. Like, I did everything right. I went to college. I had to drop out of college to take care of my mom when she was sick because, again, no social services, like, no safety net. My dad worked his whole life and died and left everything to my mom. My mom was disabled, and she lived on credit, and like she barely made ends meet, and she did everything she was supposed to, and I did everything I was supposed to, and it just keeps getting worse. It was never supposed to be like this, and I'm so angry that it is, because what do you mean? I've spent so much of my life working so hard to scrape by, and it never had to be like that. My suffering was at the expense of someone else becoming wealthy because they could.
It also, your suffering, let me go ahead and make sure I got this all the way right. Your suffering, 1 second, let me turn this down. There we go. My bad, y'all. Your suffering also could be the factor of what it is that you just overlooked or never paid attention to. Now, that's not a victim shaming. That's a real life thing that a lot of us do. We have to take time and we have to think about, like, what's going on in my life to where, what is it that affects me because I've allowed it to affect me because that's what I can control. And then we also have to then separate and assess what is outside of your control. Now, usually 9 times out of 10, there's way more that's in your control than outside of your control. At least here where we live. So you have options to go ahead and make sure that whatever it is you want to have done, you can make sure that it gets done. But it takes diligence. It takes resilience. It's going to take that discipline. You're going to have to really buckle down and strap in and really give it your everything. Now, let's just say it's a circumstance where you did all of that. You actually do feel as if, like, nah, hey, Smitty, I done did everything under the sun. Well, then at that point, the only thing that I can tell you is let's think about how to revise the plan. Maybe that's not the direction. Maybe you put your all into a direction in which it wasn't supposed to go into, and or maybe there was some steps that was missed. What are the steps that could be missed? You may want to get something done. Let's say you want to own something. Oh man, they denied you for this, and that. There's all kind of loopholes in law. Follow me. So maybe it's something you missed. Because actually you really could have got the signature or the approval for whatever it might be. And you just didn't know that, oh, snap. Oh, what? They got this for, oh, I qualify for that. You see what I'm saying? There are so many different facets, but that's also why they would say ignorance to the law is not an excuse. So basically what they're letting you know is everything that you want to be able to be mapped out and have your life be the way you want it to be, it's all laid out. Can you figure out the puzzle? And when I tell you it is something beyond a jigsaw, beyond a Rubik's Cube, it is. So it's not something the average person can, basically put together. Let's keep going.
And I am so angry about this. It can't stay like this. It doesn't have to stay like this.
catching mistakes. It's what I live for. And now for a limited time, you
No, not for a limited nothing. We're going to get back to this video. Let's go.
People, since we've all gone to Red Note and have made Chinese friends, the amount of white people who are coming back to this app and saying that we're being scammed and, oh my goodness, that we shouldn't be living like this in America. Oh my God. You had to get on a Chinese app to learn that life isn't meant to be hard. And the way that we live life in these United States is difficult as hell because that's by design. These are all manufactured.
Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I could have sworn that TikTok is America in certain countries. So maybe you know what? Maybe she's speaking about when it first started. They were the ones that originally. Okay, all right, I'll take that.
Problems. Y'all had to get on an app made by the Chinese to learn that. But when Black people were trying.
Now, many folks are used to.
Mortgages aren't like their entire paycheck. What do you mean? That people in China work one job and they don't even work 40 hours and they can easily afford their life. And then I'm over here working 60 hours a week, just me as a single parent, to like barely make ends meet. And I'm penny pinching every single second. And like, there's so much of life that my kid misses out on and that I miss out on.
I'm just cut it off right there. Dry up them fucking crocodile tears, Sarah. I don't care. I don't care. You know why I don't care? Because this is white people's fault. This is white people's fault. And now y'all want to boo-hoo and cry because y'all done got on that Chinese app and they done put the Uno reverse card on y'all ass and held up that mirror and told y'all, no, y'all are the brokies. Not us. We not the brokies. It's y'all. And y'all got to face the cold, hard reality that y'all have made this bed and now y'all got to sit in it. No, take accountability. Don't sit here and boo-hoo and cry and get on the TikTok and talk on the internet talking about what are we going to do? What are we going to do? No, what are y'all going to do? Because Black people have been telling y'all for fucking decades. We have been protesting. We have been doing everything for all these fucking decades. And y'all have sat back and reaped the rewards thinking y'all was a part of the club because y'all was white. Y'all thought this shit was about race. No, it's always been about class. And y'all were never a part of the club. Y'all make up 60% of this country's population. There's no we, it's y'all. Every minority could vote or go against something or go for something that we know is good for the people. And y'all would turn it down because y'all have the overwhelming majority. So it's no we, it's y'all. Fix y'all shit. I know y'all don't like to take accountability for nothing, but now it's time. Y'all over there boo-hooing crying because y'all seeing the Chinese Walmart and they over there paying $3 for a whole goddamn bag of groceries. Meanwhile, you got to pay $200 and barely fill up your grocery cart. See, all those things you're boo-hooing and crying about, FDR made that happen. But then it all went away in 1967. Why did I say 1967? What does that correlate to? Oh, the Civil Rights Act was passed. Integration happened. And then white people stripped away or voted against themselves to strip away all public services and entities and all those great things that y'all had prior to integration because y'all didn't want Black people to have the shit. So y'all gave all that up in the 1980s when Reagan created trickle-down economics because y'all didn't want us to have. He gave us crack and trickle-down economics. And y'all was cool with that. Y'all made a deal with the devil and now y'all got to accept the consequences of y'all fucking actions. Y'all had affordable housing. Y'all didn't have fucking credit scores. Y'all didn't have you could send your kids to college for the free or for the low. We had advanced and effective public transit and services in this country. But y'all gave all of it away because y'all didn't want niggas to have access. Y'all fought so hard with things like redlining and all these different things to hold Black people back to keep us from getting a piece of the pie. Whole time they taking y'all pie. And now y'all got to face the music. And y'all don't, now you want to boo-hoo. Y'all let them pass the Patriot Act in the act of protecting us from terrorists. Use that Islamophobia against y'all dumbass. Y'all let them further push the Patriot Act in 2019 because of that, the immigration that y'all was so afraid of, all the immigrants, right? Just taking away all y'all fucking right. Now y'all want to point and what are we gonna do? No, what are y'all gonna do? Because when black people out here marching because for police brutality, who they just do things to us and write a fake ass police report and get away with it and nothing happens. You think or when we did ride when things like Mike Brown, Trayvon Martin happened, and the original Black Lives Matter activists, the original movement that got hijacked. You know what I'm saying? The original activists that was out there on the ground got took out by the police. Oh no, y'all ain't say nothing then. When we telling y'all that they're interfering in our freedoms and our rights, but no, it's black people, so we ain't right. It's not us, it's them. Well, I shouldn't have to pay for the sins of my fathers. I didn't own any slaves. I'm not racist. Yes, but you're compliant to the system and you're complacent and you're okay with the system that gave you an edge up against us. Go back to R. Kelly or the things that was going on at Nickelodeon or with Harvey Weinstein, all that weird shit, right? There were people still giving up their kids to that, selling making deals, still going up there knowing everything that was going on, putting their children, putting their livelihoods, cameramen, people going to get opportunities and jobs. They did not care so long as it wasn't them. And that was y'all this entire time up until now. Go back and look at the prequel to the Purges. Where did they start? Where did they start? How did they get people to approve some shit like the Purge? They started in the hood. They started with black people. They started with the disenfranchised. So when y'all turn a blind eye and y'all let that shit go on with black people, when we getting our ass whipped by police and we getting our rights taken away and we getting profiled and we getting this, then they're slowly implementing that shit and they were slowly draining that shit from y'all. It look like, come on, bruh. You would have thought y'all would have woke up when that shit happened in North Carolina and that hurricane went up there and fucked them up. But no, what did they turn into? Oh, well, it's Biden. Whole time North Carolina is a red fucking state. Oh, like your local governments fucking failed y'all. So no, there's no, what are we gonna do? No, it's what y'all gonna do. Grab y'all fucking nuts and go do something. Because we, black people, we tired of being y'all fucking crash dummies and going out there and then they give y'all a little piece of the pie and then y'all go back and y'all let us out there to fucking drown. No, y'all go do something.
Oh, and never forget, we could have had Bernie, but y'all said he was a socialist.
That was a lot. That was a lot. I'm gonna leave that shit. I'm be real with you. I'm gonna just let this shit play. I don't even have it in me to even try to go back on. Goodness gracious, that was a lot. Jeez, that was a lot.
Baby, my For You page is popping today. It is full of beautiful, melanated black people letting white people know why they have it so much better in China. Letting white people know why you can't afford a home, why you can't afford insurance. Beautiful, black, melanated people are letting white people know we can't have nice things because of your racism.
Boy, oh boy, boy, oh boy, oh boy. Shit here. Look, let me just say straight up, all right? The more we keep on focusing on everybody else and what everybody else think, look, I'm trying to figure out at what point has racism become a new thing? How long has it been a thing? What I'm saying is that we got the energy that we put into there being racist towards us. I'm not saying don't speak up and about anything at all. But what I'm saying is that all this energy, okay, so sis, you got all these people that's melanated and beautiful. Talk to them about what the F we can do to make sure that we don't keep going through what we're going through. Network with the best of us that you can get in contact with and make sure that y'all rub elbows and start coming up with the plan. Start thinking of something to add into what the motion of what we already have going on is going, right? Be more fuel to what it is that we need in this travel along the way of, if you want to say, reaching righteousness. I'm not one of those folks to say, oh, just get over it, pull yourself up by the bootstraps. No, I don't talk like that, because I recognize everything that goes on that holds us back. You know, what I will say in the same breath is all the energy that we put into that right there. Like, I want you to think about right now, even at that moment, the focus being on that right there. Now, I don't know what she speaks about on a regular. She could possibly do so. So, you know, I do make sure I guard my tongue on how far I go on what I'm saying. But overall, what I'm saying is that I've noticed that we be so focused on, oh my gosh, I heard the N-word. Oh my goodness, I heard this. They called me that. They called me this. When are we going to recognize that you can't stop nobody from thinking or saying what they're going to say about you? But you know what you can do? You can kill and destroy all of that by us uniting. You destroy it all. My point is that we've been talking about this for too long. At what point are we going to go ahead and say, you know what? Nah, bump all that, y'all. Let's unite. Let's go ahead and communicate amongst ourselves, and let's be quiet towards them. And let's just slowly let them see not only how we act as the triple OGs, double OGs, OGs, and down all the way to the young bloods. Let's let them see exactly how we can go ahead and form. And it shouldn't always have to take like something horrific to happen for us to get together. You know, like that whole, you know, you only see your family when it's a funeral type of thing. Nah. It should be a day in, day out. Like, we're vigorous in it. We've been behind the 8 ball for way too long. And that's really where I am with it. But let's listen.
White people been over there on that Red Note app, and they are sick. They are learning that Americans have been living in squalor. White people are sick. They are learning that for 400 years, Black people.
What? Hold on. See, this is what I'm talking about. Literally. All right. So this is the parts that I have to. And I'm just saying, for my people, like, this is not healthy. She said, are living in squalor. You're saying that while you got your nails freshly done, you got pearls around your neck. Lord knows how much them glasses, them frames on your face cost, right? You got your hair nice and done. You look like you're well kept. You look like somebody who is taken care of. You look like somebody who's possibly loved. Right? So when we say that, it takes me back to when I was having that conversation as far as with my relative saying, we're not oppressed. Stop trying to tell me I'm oppressed. I'm not oppressed about anything. And that's the part that really gets to me when we keep talking in this downtrodden state. Believe it or not, right now, if she thinks that she's uplifting in what she's saying, no, it's actually like a reverse Uno card. I don't even think she realizes it's being played on her as well as us, as those of us who share her skin tone and features. But let's keep listening.
People lived in slavery, but in 2024, they are realizing that they are too slaves. They are sick. They are twisted. Listen, when Donald Trump came out and said, why do we keep getting people from these shithole countries? My response was, bitch, America is the shithole country. And white.
be, man. Yeah, give me a second. I mean,
You're missing the point.
I promise you, sis. I absolutely promise you. You ain't seen shithole until you've been to the slums of these other places. This is not a narrative. This is a 100% fact across the board. The most hood of our hoods are nothing in comparison. It's nothing in comparison. Just for the simple fact that even in the hood, considering that the bills are paid, electricity throughout the city stays on 24 hours a day. We don't know what it's like to actually live somewhere in America and the entire town shuts down at a certain time. No more running water. No more like we don't like. You need to cut that out, ma'am. Please cut that out. When you say America's a shithole country now, again, look at everything she got. Like, just look at her in this picture. She looks like she's well taken care of. You got your nails done. Where them get done at? Was it here? All your clothes you got. Where you do your shopping, you do it here, or you get your stuff imported from other countries? When you get your hair done, do you take a flight to another country or you get your hair done here? Them frames you got on your face, did you get those from here or did you go to another country? My point is that how do we sit up here? Like, I would never do that. I would never do that. I couldn't even begin to think to bring myself to the point where I'm going to say, you know what, this is a shithole country, but yet I got so many wonderful benefits that apply to me, my family, everything. Man, there's a lot of places you go to. There's no like insurance with your job. You get hurt, you get hurt. We need to cut that out. So let's keep on rocking out.
People are learning the truth. For the past 4 years, they've been fighting woke. And the Red Note app, Xiang Hong Shu, has made them the wokest people of 2025.
She's saying that on an Asian app in America. That's all I gotta say. It's an Asian app she said that on while in America.
I want everybody this year, when they go see their physicians for their annual checkup, to request some blood work to be done and find out what tests can be done to measure the level of anti-blackness that's embedded in your motherfucking blood, and find out if there's some level of concoction that you can sip on to flush that bitch out. Because I will never understand the shit that I see on this internet sometimes. In its last days of TikTok, y'all are still on y'all bullshit. The hypocrisy is wild. And I know a lot of people was always going to say, oh, everything about race, y'all always try to, minimize it or make it boil down to race. And yeah, it actually is about race, because every single time there are two groups of people and or two individuals that are doing the exact same thing, have the exact same thoughts and actions, y'all never have a logical explanation as to why it's acceptable for one person or party to do it versus the other. So then it causes us to do some level of process of elimination. What are the differences between these two sets of people and or groups? And the only two things that always seem to pop up is either these people are not black and or they're a man. Like, be so fucking for real. The hypocrisy is outstanding. I don't know which one is worse at this point. I don't know if it's the conversations about Black Americans going over to the Red Note app and calling out the cultural appropriation that's going on there and being told not to bring that woke shit over to somebody else's app. Or if it's how Bad Bunny is such this astounding, remarkable artist that gave us such a beautiful homage to Latina culture with his latest album versus Beyonce being a propagandist. Let me know, because this shit eating me the fuck up. It's acceptable And it makes sense to believe that Bad Bunny, a multimillionaire, has the ability to stay rooted and connected in his culture. He has the ability to make an astounding piece of artwork that I actually thoroughly enjoyed his album, where he can understand that this is not going to be for everybody. Specifically, this is a target audience. This is a homage to his island, to his people, Puerto Rico. He absolutely understands that all Latinos are not going to be able to get on board. He's going to speak a language that some unfortunate Latinos have forgotten. They're not going to listen to him properly. This album is about basically resisting U.S. colonialism. But for some odd reason, when Cowboy Carter, an homage to Black culture, Black Southern culture came out, it was propaganda. It was problematic because it wasn't for everybody. Black people.
Oh my fucking gosh, bro.
Again of being woke, so Black people can seem problematic. Yet Asian people in the community or Asian communities or certain individuals can come onto TikTok and express their sentiments on how they find some of the memes and their music that's being used distasteful. Y'all need to seek help. Y'all are deliberate in your hypocrisy. Like y'all choose to be obtuse with things. And I just don't understand why. What is the level of hatred for Black pride, for gatekeeping Black culture from Black people, especially if Black women are saying it? I will never understand it. I will never understand the mental gymnastics that y'all play. But in reality, I kind of do understand it. The reality is that y'all just believe that Black culture is something that should be exported and used for all. And then you try to reduce it and make it seem like it doesn't exist because if you want to be able to use it at your free will, you don't feel that Black people should try to gain ownership of their shit. And that helps your ability to try to belittle us in our contributions to our country and try to erase us from ever existing.
All the white people going on Xiaohongshu and they're like, oh my God, China, they have everything. Their food is cheap. They have good schools, blah, 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 blah. Why don't we have that? Racism. It's because of racism, babe. Yeah. And post-Reconstruction era South, after those traitors lost the Civil War, the South was devastated. This is just an example. The South was devastated, like in every way you could think of. The Northern troops had burned their farmland. They had blown up railroad tracks so you couldn't transport anything. They liberated all the enslaved people. They had burned their houses to the ground, okay? The South was... It was so bad. Northern newspapers were sending down photographers to take photos, to take photographs, and they were going back up north, and the editors and photographers were selling little books to other Northerners, like poverty porn. That's how bad the South was after the Reconstruction era. Oh, after the Civil War or the Reconstruction era. Do you know what white Southerners' primary concern was? Not housing and feeding and clothing their families, not trying to rebuild their economy. No. It was making sure they inflicted massive physical, mental, and economic terror on formerly enslaved people in the South. That was their modus. That was their modus operandi. That was very important to them. More important than rebuilding their economy was harassing Black people. And that's just an example of the centuries white people have spent cutting off their own toes just so we don't have anything. But the gag is, now you don't have anything either. We don't have anything, but neither do you. And that's why we don't have nice things. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
So I just saw a post where a young white woman is upset and crying because she's understanding how easy they have it in China. And she doesn't understand why, as Americans, we have to work so hard just to have so little. She doesn't understand why we're spending 20% of our income on groceries. And she goes on to list a lot of problems. And she's like, it didn't need to be this hard. What do you mean we didn't have to do it like this?
Have you all, let me see something here. Has anybody ever been over there or online? Have you ever seen the size of the residencies that they live in? Okay. You say it's hard. You know what it's like to be somewhere where you're not allowed, like literally, it's uncouth to talk out in public, like on the subway and stuff like that. Okay. So, again, all of these things have a trade-off. I don't know what they talk. See, like the thing is, if you really pay attention, a lot of these folks is basically just simply talking about a daggone price. They're talking about a price when it comes to like living. It's so much extra that comes with that. And I promise you, it's a trade-off that you're probably going to want to be like, you know what? I'd rather just be here.
And I started to empathize with her, but then in the back of my mind, I thought, girl, this isn't new. Why is this new to you? And then I realized for quite some time, a lot of white people in this country, the issues that Black people had, they thought they were just Black people issues. When Black people were spending 20% of their income on groceries, white people thought, oh, that's a Black people problem. When Black people had to work 2 jobs to make ends meet, white people thought, that's unfortunate. And now that the Black people's problems have reached white people have hot tears and they don't understand how we came to be this way. Now, this is one of the reasons why it's important in any country or any place to listen to those who are marginalized. Those people are kind of like a canary in the coal mine, letting you know, hey, we got some issues. You can't see it and maybe it's invisible to you, but they are on the way. I just saw a post where a young white woman is upset and crying because she's understanding how easy they have it in China. And she doesn't understand why, as Americans, we have to work so hard just to have so little.
Racism would be the answer. So this all goes back to what they call drained pool politics. Once integration became the law of the land with cases like Brown v. Board, a lot of white people moved to get rid of public services and goods like swimming pools. And that meant they had fewer resources. They had fewer third places. And it was fine back in the day because they would just pay. They would pay to go to country clubs, which is why there's a proliferation of country clubs in this country right now. But they put all those kinds of things that used to be public services behind a paywall because then they could just say, well, you can't pay, or this is a private club. It doesn't matter if you can pay. We're not going to allow you in. It's our choice. It's not a public service. It's not a government run thing. Just so Black people wouldn't have access. But over time, the cost of these services rose higher and higher until most white people cannot afford them. But it's not just that. I mean, this idea goes all the way back to things like Social Security. Do you know white people refused to vote it through back during the New Deal until 2 groups of people were not eligible? Domestic labor, so that would be like maids, and agricultural workers who didn't own the land. So in other words, if you were a sharecropper, like most Black people in the South, or a maid, like the women, you couldn't get Social Security. Once they put those provisions in, all of a sudden they could have it all day long. White people in this country have always been obsessed with the idea of Black people not having things. And that's why they're in the mess that they're in. It's kind of nice to be able to say what I want on here. The reason why countries, the Scandinavian ones, Denmark and Sweden and whatnot, have such great policies is in part because those countries are homogenous, or mostly so. And they're not trying to investigate who's benefiting from the free child care and the universal health care and all that. They are moving on. We could have a great standard of living in this country, but white people are so obsessed, so angry at the idea other people who are not white are going to have that same great standard of living. They would rather live in squalor. It's why the Affordable Health Care Act got gutted. The utter terror that people who don't look like you are going to be able to live decently. What you pay for. I mean, politicians have tried to convince white voters for years. This is in their interest. It was in their interest to not have to pay for these goods and services. And now you fell for it. They convinced you it was communist or socialist to have a decent standard of living, to have the taxes that you pay go to something other than endless war, to actually go towards the maintenance of the nation and making our lives better. But, I hope you enjoy it. Rather than letting everybody have a turn with the ball, you've decided to pop the ball and you're complaining, there's no ball, there's no ball. Indeed, there's not. If we got a ball tomorrow and you saw the Black people and others playing with it, you probably pop it again. So there's a direct correlation. It's not that Black problems are just starting to suddenly leak over and affect white people. It's that the intentional negative economic and social policies white people put in place to oppress Black people have now rebounded on them. Everything people complain about nowadays. How come there are no more third spaces? How come we don't have anywhere to go but work and school? How come we can't afford property? How come this and how come that? All of those have a direct correlation to post-integration policies and choices. Why is college so expensive? Racism. Black people started going and they raised the tuition out of all scope. It used to be practically free to go to school. How come I can't find a decent job? Racism. The minute Black people integrated those unions for the factories that have been operating in this nation for decades, and Black people could only be non-unionized workers or just unskilled labor, the minute we finally broke into the unions, that is when they began migrating out of cities like Detroit, first into the South for white cities, and then eventually overseas. You thought you were winning. And the hollowing out of Chicago and Detroit and etc. don't just affect Black people. The reverberations of that crisis have affected the entire Midwest, and look at the condition of the Rust Belt today. The hole you dig for somebody else will be the one you fall in. That's literally biblical. If people had focused on trying to get the whole standard of living for the country up, even if they had just focused on their own ends, but not tried to punish anyone else, this whole country would be in a better position today. And now look, I hope this serves as a valuable lesson to you. It probably won't. Because that's why the last election went the way it went. They're still trying to convince you somebody else is to blame for the problems that are self-engineered. And they tried to convince you that by punishing someone else, the mysterious boogeyman stole your cheese. And if you beat him up, if you cut his wages, if you deport him, you'll get your cheese back. It's not true. This learning curve is getting steeper and steeper, though. I am genuinely interested to see what happens on Red Note next. I think this will be the first time a lot of Americans have unfettered, unpropagandized access to so many citizens from a nation we've been taught is bad, that inherently they're doing things wrong and that they're oppressed and we need to help them and save them. This will be the first time a lot of Americans have that much direct contact. And the puzzle pieces are starting to click into place. You know, this might be the making of something. We will see. That's it. Like and follow for more. As long as you can. I hope it's longer than we think.
Now, I started by saying that this is the America.
So that's pretty much what we got. Yeah, a lot of people they really don't realize, you know, what they have before them. Then you got some folks that really have gone through some things and you can't get their mind to see different. So that was our videos. Shout out.
I've been on the moon, rock space time. Travel, I repel girls with brown eyes. That two from the gravel, take this music and collect every ounce of your respect. Anybody wanna try to battle me, bring your dead. Wish I seen how money hungry fakers just be in your face. As I take a metamorphic shock like a taser. High voltage, just a God is my savior. Here to preserve all the flavor. Yes, rocky like sand and I'm smooth like a gator. On the rooftop, dressed in all black like a Raider. M16 when I spit, get a grip just like the Terminator. like an ice cream shop. Smitty has too many flavors. Yes, I'm loyalty, no trader. Still keep a clean cup of Swamp Thing. No, you not major, let's hit the streets. And still we walk as I outline a beam of wrath. And it's all in check, get back, yeah, we big dog major. That's a fact, I'm on track, lay tracks like a train, call me too. Busting up 2 Glocks in an afro and 2 clicking up and causing much danger. No stranger to the conflict, me I tenderize the beef socks like it was a brisket. When I walk in, I turn heads, when you walk in, it be crickets. Me, I'm ducking all you haters like it's dodgeball in case you missed it. Holla at you people, thank you for another day. It's Mr. 7 from T Heavens, and you know that we don't play.
I digress. My mic is muted.
My mic is muted.